What a shocker. Mike Pence suspends his presidential campaign for the Republican nomination in 2024. Let's check it out.
Last June, I announced my intention to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States because I believe this country is in a lot of trouble. I was raised to believe that to whom much is given, much will be required. And with everything our country is facing, I just couldn't sit this one out. But the Bible tells us that there's a time for every purpose under heaven. Traveling across the country over the past 6 months, I came here to say it's become clear to me this is not my time.
Mike, it was never your time. You've been traveling across the country and it's become clear to you, probably because I've seen photos of you in a small library with 12 people there. Nobody really cared about your campaign. Okay, a select few did. That's why you raised so little amounts of funds. You couldn't get any traction in the polls because nobody wants you as president.
So after much prayer and deliberation, I have decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today. Now, I'm leaving this campaign, but let me promise you, I will never leave the fight for conservative values, and I will never stop fighting to elect principled Republican leaders to every office in the land.
All right. We know he's not going to endorse Donald Trump. Well, I don't think he is because they have a lot of friction with each other. But it was clear as day he was never in this race. I don't know why he even decided to run. I think a lot of people are running because they thought Donald Trump was going to crash and burn with these indictments and he's going to drop out. They were wanting him to go to jail, to go to prison, excuse me. But if you take a look at the polling, it's clear this guy had no chance. Right now, in real clear politics, Trump is at 59.1%, and his lead is expanded in the polls. He's at nearly 60%, with Ron DeSantis dropping all the way down from when he was, in the low 20s down to 12.6%. And Nikki Haley has actually been doing okay. She's been third. She passed Ramaswamy. She's at 8.3%. And Trump's lead overall is at 46.5%. It's become clear as day who's going to be the Republican nominee, especially when you have fundraising numbers like this for Mike Pence. Brutal. Pence has $1.2 million on hand with a six-figure debt. This is back on October 15th, this was published. Mike Pence's presidential campaign is running on fumes, reporting just $1.2 million cash on hand and more than $600,000 in debt. Gosh. The former vice president raised $3.3 million in the third quarter, he reported Sunday. He has given himself $150,000. A significant figure for a politician who has spent much of his life having never amassed much wealth, and one that far exceeds the less than six-figure salary he earned when he was Indiana governor less than a decade ago. The debt number is going to be impossible to pay back. When he drops out, he's going to have to do debt retirement fundraisers. Yikes. Sounds like a medium-sized Senate race, this person said of Pence's fundraising haul. In fact, some Republicans close to Pence had urged him to a bid for Indiana's open Senate seat in 2024 instead of seeking the presidency. That probably would have been a better idea for him. This guy had no shot. I don't know why these people waste their time and money on running for president knowing they have zero chance. Maybe he's running for a job in an administration outside of Trump. Let's say their plan or their hopes and Trump was not going to run, or he's going to drop out. He's going to get a position somewhere in somebody's cabinet, or maybe he wants a job at CNN. That's probably the best option for him at this point in time. Look, when you raise $3.3 million versus a guy who raised $45.5 million in the third quarter. I think that's why he saw it was clear to him that this is not his time. It says Trump campaign raised $45.5 million in the third quarter. It's from CNN. His campaign credited overwhelming grassroots support for the sums raised and said the former president had more than $37.5 million cash on hand at the end of September. The lion's share of that, nearly $36 million, has been designated for use in the primary, according to the campaign statement. The Trump campaign statement noted that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign had previously announced that just $5 million of the $15 million raised by his political operation in the third quarter was available for the primary election battles ahead. Now, $45.5 million compared to $15 million is huge. That's a $30 million difference. Trump is so far ahead in fundraising and the polling, it's not even funny. I think it's become clear that he is the runaway front runner for the nomination. You take a look at the polling across the country, like I showed you right here on RCP. His lead is expanded from what at one point when Ron DeSantis was really hot when he got reelected, it was about 18 to 21%. Then it went up to about 27, 28, and it kind of stayed there for a while. And after the indictments and all that, he started just really, when he got that in, we got in the full campaign mode. He's doing a lot of smaller rallies, speaking a lot of places, a lot of retail politics. And his lead is expanded to 46.5%. And I really don't see anybody being able to challenge that at this point in time. I mean, I think it's inevitable. He's going to be a nominee. What Mike Pence should have done, if he wanted a chance to become president, is instead of being a spineless coward, he should have sent these results of the 2020 election back to the electors back to the states, send them to the states, and investigated. Say, hey, check out what's going on in these swing states with these mass mail-in ballots. Take a look into Georgia. Let's take a look into Pennsylvania and Arizona, Michigan, and let's see what happened here. This is what Ted Cruz wanted to do. They weren't trying to overturn the election. They wanted to investigate and see what happened. That's all he had to do. And he would have had the respect from millions of Trump supporters across the country. They would have seen him as somebody who stood firm, because just a couple of weeks or so before January 6th, Mike Pence was he was speaking somewhere, and he said, we're not going to stop fighting until every illegal vote is thrown out and every legal vote is counted. Something to that effect. Saying they're going to stay and fight to the end to make sure every illegal vote is thrown out and get to the bottom of what happened in the 2020 election. But he caved. He was a coward. He didn't stand. And I believe Trump said that he was worried Mike Pence was not going to do the right thing. But look what happened. Now he's suspended his campaign, and he will never be president. Ever. 0% chance. Clear as day. And that's why he dropped out. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.